Hey everyone. Today's story drops us into a roaring crowd of people gathered at the Lincoln Financial Stadium in Philadelphia, home of the Eagles football team, to witness a playoff game between their native team and the Green Bay Packers, who they ultimately beat 22-10 that day, Sunday, January 12th. And I'm not here to give Eagles fans a hard time. This isn't a personal thing, and frankly, I don't even watch football anymore. But the only other time we've covered a lunatic at a stadium, we were covering the story of Robert Derwin, if you remember, a man who went to the ground kicking a woman and, much like this story actually, demeaning her to a degree any decent human would have a problem with. And Robert Derwin was, as you may remember, also an Eagles fan. On top of that, TikTok user ZoloCap also caught a completely unrelated freakout, has nothing to do with these people we're about to talk about, where Eagles fans appear to be turning on one another over an alleged car accident. Not weeks or months ago, mind you, but at the very same game at which our main incident occurred.
You got it in front of you. Are you kidding me? You're going to stop everything? You ran into my I didn't run into you. You did run into me. No, stop that. Get him. Dude, he ran into you. Get him. Stop. He did. He's an asshole. Going straight. You heard me, dickwad. That's fine. Go Birds. Going straight. Dude, if you knew how to drive, we'd be fine. I'm half your age. I can drive twice as good as you.
And that's not all, because Eagles superfan Ryan Dunphy, with an N, was also caught on video getting in a gnarly brawl with someone in the parking lot of this exact same game. There was not one, not two, but 3 videos of Eagles fans acting crazy from this playoff game that they won alone. But of these 3 incidents, easily the most viral was recorded by a Green Bay Packers content creator on X named Alexander Basara, who was attending this game with his fiancée despite being surrounded by fans of the opposing team. The things he recorded this man saying to his fiancée, for seemingly no reason other than their opposing fandoms, were extremely nasty, and most believe went way below the bar of acceptable sports stadium shit-talking hullabaloo, and into the realm of abusive and outrageous.
After reviewing the play, the runner was short of the goal line. They got one more yard though. They're close. Yeah, but they're not in. It's not a touchdown. Yeah. So you don't jerk off in the air. Okay, well, don't call her. Don't. She's an ugly dumb. Cool. End of the third quarter. Yup.
His colorful language aside, the way he came at this young woman simply for enjoying the sport rubbed pretty much everyone the wrong way. A few people did stick up for him, like this ex-user who said, "I know this feels wrong, but they were words, and my instincts of being at 100 games say the Packers fans instigated things. There was definitely alcohol involved. The guy had a poor choice of words. He doesn't deserve to be shamed like this." NBC Philadelphia sat Alexander and his fiancée Allie Keller down for an interview shortly after the clip gained traction.
I didn't want to turn around and yell at this guy and then have my fiance get jumped in the crowd. Yeah. So I was, I guess, trying to stay calm, but I was pretty fuming at that point. It wasn't about the game either. Like, he was making personal jabs at me. It's one thing if he's going, "Oh, F the Packers," or whatever, but he's talking about my looks the whole time. So it got personal.
It's a dangerous situation. I've seen videos of other stadiums of that same situation occurring, where it's a couple and the husband jumps in and then the wife's in the middle of the crossfire. It's a very dangerous situation and it's infuriating. So that's why we went that route. And then after we did that, he actually stopped. I think he realized he was caught on tape.
Will you go to another Eagles-Packers game?
In Lambeau, sure. In Lambeau,
Lambeau,
sure.
yeah.
No, I don't think we'll go to Philly again, just because at this rate, I don't know if it's necessarily worth it. And I know not every fan's like that. And I really hope no one has to endure that. And that was kind of my point of posting that video, is just, you know, hopefully this makes people understand that that's not okay. Like that's not okay to do.
Alexander told NBC that the jab started out as playful ribbing, but as the game wore on, the ribbing became more hostile and severe comments until it escalated to the point that we just saw. When I was going over the comments on this post on X, I noticed that a sizable portion of people said, probably what some of you were thinking while you just watched this, "If that were me, I would have hit that guy." He said something like that to my fiance in front of me. These comments were made alongside a mixture of sort of a tacit shaming of this guy for not getting violent over this incident, and some, I would say, much wiser people commending him for his self-control. But our main character explained to several such commenters that what we can't see as the viewer necessarily is that this man had two other adult men there, one of which we find out later was his brother, who didn't in any way seem interested in calming this guy down or de-escalating the situation. Between that and our antagonist's high ground, Alexander, who would have fought alone, decided against physical altercation. The rest of the game, meanwhile, apparently went on without further incident, but when he uploaded the video later that evening at around 11 p.m., it started rapidly racking up views. Today, the video has over 30 million views on his profile and well over 100,000 likes, obviously having the desired effect of catapulting this incident to the national spotlight. And with that incredibly massive amount of attention, the obvious question became, just who the hell is this guy? Who does he think he is? Anyway, the Karen hunters like Donish were quick to jump on this case as well, and as Alexander had asked in his original post, the man's identity was found after just 24 hours. The Eagles fan before us was revealed to be a man named Ryan Caldwell, and the consequences of his tirade were swift and brutal. First and foremost, the very same day that his identity was revealed, Ryan Caldwell got some very, very bad news. And he likely had to learn about it the same way that we all did, from a post on X from NFL reporter Derek Gunn, who wrote, "Here's an update. Big Dom," by the way, that's the Eagles security chief, Dom DeSandro, "has identified the guy and woman involved in this incident. The guy will be banned from future Eagles games. The Eagles will be sending the woman Packers gear as an apology. Eagles once again showing what a class organization they are. Clappy hand, clappy hand." Ryan Caldwell has been banned from the home stadium of his favorite team forevermore. An absolutely brutal punishment for any diehard fan, to be sure, but this was actually not where the consequences of Ryan's poor choices would end. In addition to outing his name in all of his social media, including his now deleted LinkedIn profile to millions of angry people, netizens also located Ryan Caldwell's employer, because of course they did. And you're not going to believe this, he worked as a business analyst for a management consulting firm focused on DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, called BCT Partners, founded by the Season 4 winner of The Apprentice, of all people, Randall Pinkett. And they absolutely did not like what they saw on that video. At 5:02 p.m. on January 13th, the consulting company posted a message on their X account that said they had been made aware of the video, were investigating the incident, and considered the conduct completely unacceptable. TMZ Sports actually took the liberty of interviewing both Pinkett and his fellow partner at BCT, Lawrence Hibbert, and one thing they went out of their way to describe as their company hit its 25th anniversary, no less, is the overflow of hostility that was directed at their company. So much hostility, in fact, that they took the liberty of turning off their comments, I noticed, on both of their company statements on X. Hibbert described the last 48 hours as really difficult. "It hurts," he said, "but we also believe that we can stand on our track record, and we wanted to take these opportunities to affirm the fact that we can still, even in the difficult times, operate on our value system and doing what we believe is right." which did not bode well for Ryan, and I'm sure he knew that. So it can't have been terribly surprising when BCT posted the results of that investigation the very next day. The devastating update reads, "We, the management of BCT Partners, have concluded the internal personnel investigation regarding an employee who was caught on a video outside of the workplace making highly offensive and misogynistic statements. In keeping with our company values, which are firmly centered on respect, dignity, and inclusion, we have decided to part company with the employee. This separation is effective immediately. We condemn our former employee's conduct in the strongest possible terms. This individual's conduct and language were vile, disgusting, unacceptable, and horrific, and have no place in our workplace and society. Such conduct is not who we are and not what we stand for. At the same time, again, to be true to our values, we can condemn the actions without condemning the individual. None of us deserve to be remembered for actions taken on our worst day. We have offered grace and support to our former employee. We hope that he will grow and we all can learn from this deeply disturbing incident. That's what real inclusion is and does. That is also who we are and what we stand for. We sincerely apologize to the victim for the many ways in which these events already have impacted so many people. We remain committed to gender equity and fostering a culture of respect and dignity for all." Not only was Ryan Caldwell banned from his favorite team's home stadium, not only was he subject to the ridicule of millions of Americans, he was ultimately fired from his job. But the CEO of the company, Randall Pinkett, also shared his own private thoughts, and they seem to align more closely with the second half of their company statement than the first. While his company's official statement condemned him in really the strongest possible terms, Pinkett told NBC News that he wished Ryan well, and even said, "It's not just that we have parted ways with Mr. Caldwell, but we were very clear in our statement that we extended grace and support to him that he could be better. What troubles me," he said, "is his behavior, but what also troubles me is the cancel culture that we live in that doesn't afford people grace, that we don't have the opportunity to be better people and learn from our mistakes." And while I generally agree with the sentiment that people should have a chance to redeem themselves after incidents like this, and certainly that people get carried away with hunting down and canceling other people, there was something odd about the head of a DEI company lamenting the woes of, like, overly aggressive cancel culture being out of control. But more importantly, this final blow led Ryan Caldwell himself to respond. He said in a written response to People magazine on Wednesday, January 15th, "While attending an NFL game last Sunday to support my beloved Philadelphia Eagles, an incident occurred that I deeply regret. What began as banter with two Packers fans sitting near me escalated to something more serious, and I said things that were unacceptable. In the heat of the moment, I chose unforgiving words to address one of those fans, Miss Allie Keller. I want to sincerely apologize to Miss Keller for those words and to my wife, family, and friends, my former employer and colleagues, Packers fans, Eagles fans, the Eagles, the city of Philadelphia, and all who were offended. So this was an apology to everyone ever." So, what do we think, folks? What is the verdict? Do we accept Ryan Caldwell's apology? Was the downfall of this out-of-control Eagles fan a befitting punishment for his social crimes, or do you think all of this was too harsh a punishment given his actions, a example of the aforementioned cancel culture run amok? Do you think this was truly a one-sided escalation that came out of nowhere, perhaps due to this man's drinking and belligerence, or do you agree with some users, not the majority, but some, who questioned if, given Alexander's GoFundMe post that someone dragged up, where he seems to be rather gleeful, actually, about the prospect of having everyone at the stadium be hostile towards him, perhaps Alexander had contributed to this escalation as well before the tape started rolling? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to leave me your recommendations in the comments for future stories you'd like to see. I read all of them. And yeah, I think that's it. All right, see you soon.